Hello, everybody. This is Ian Along, and thank you very much for tagging along with me in this cold, rainy All Saints Day. This was recorded on an All Saints Day, which is November 1. And thank you very much for listening to my podcast. And right now, we have another guest from Toastmasters International. He is my friend from Toastmasters International. He is also a trainer and at the same time a developer, a talent developer. And without further delay, let us introduce Migi Ericta.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Ian. It's good to be on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Migi. Um, how can you describe your afternoon so far on your end?
When I was looking outside, or even actually just right now, I could see the rain pouring down from the skies.
All right, so let us just hope and pray that we are safe here in Metro Manila. Uh,
Yes.
3 hours ago, it hit the Bicol region, and some of my friends had shown videos of the places outside their homes being hit by the this typhoon, super typhoon Wally. Now, in this weather, it is we have a very relevant topic. It's a very relevant topic. Although I'm not the type of person who goes by relevance, meaning we, I do interviews, not really on the occasion itself, but the topic itself. Now, speaking of which, Migi, kindly describe what you are doing nowadays.
At my work, of course.
Of course.
Yes. Yes, just making sure. But kidding aside, as it has been more than half a decade already, or actually it's going to be half a decade, that I have been so invested in the learning and development industry. And what do I mean by this? Because by nature, I'm a corporate trainer. I have been so immersed in what I am doing because right now I am one of the pioneering master trainers in terms of reviving the university of our company. And that is EPLDT University. But since we have extended our reach or our services to PLDT Enterprise, it was now rebranded from EPLDT University to E University. So therefore, I'm very honored and I'm very pleased because I'm one of those people who would be on the forefront in breaking new grounds, making new discoveries, and definitely serving clients the best way that we could. And how do I do that? I would facilitate workshops mainly on topics in soft skills. When we say soft skills, these would be skills like communication skills, English proficiency, business writing, customer experience, business communication essentials, time and stress management, and there are a lot of topics that are yet to be developed. In fact, we're coming up with workshops for this coming month. So I'll be running business communication essentials and speech communication for this month,
Hmm.
this
Have you
November.
have you speak of which you are a train you are saying that you are a trainer and at the same time a developer. You
Ah, it's
mentioned
just it's
yeah, go
just
on.
yes, correct. Talent development, but there you could just say that I'm a corporate trainer because when you say developer, I would remember people from the IT or when you I would remember something in the
Yes, yes,
software
yes.
industry. Yes.
Thank you for pointing that out. It's talent
Yeah, no problem.
development. Talent
Yes, or
development.
training and development or learning
Okay.
and development.
I'm glad that you have made it clear. Talent development in the corporate setting. I,
Yes.
every time I hear talent development, what I think about is the pasisikating kita line. Do you get a
Right.
lot of that? Do you get a lot of that when you talk about it?
No, not really, because when I just say that I'm a corporate trainer, it makes it a lot simpler. So sorry if I wasn't able to clear that up or clear that out. But again, I'm just to simplify things, especially for those who are listening to this podcast. Let's just say I'm a corporate trainer. The
Mhm.
industry for corporate trainers would usually be training and development, or talent development, or learning and development.
All
So
right.
these are certain industries, sectors, or career paths that trainers like me can really thrive in, or thrive right now as of the moment.
Wow. And how since what can you say, since this is about the corporate training? You noticed, I observed that in the past, before the pre-pandemic, which is, you know what happened, the Taal volcano thing, and also
Mm.
it led to COVID-19. And this is my question. Upon my observation of the decline of corporate training, you mean the corporate training, how did you adapt to that?
Thank you so much for that very wonderful question. I believe that with the help of learning agility, we can make things happen. And how do we manifest learning agility? In so many ways, because we find ways to do something, especially if we are thrown into different situations. So usually, when you're a corporate trainer, you would always think of one word: classroom,
Yeah.
live,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, definitely during this pandemic, we had to make lots of shifts because shifts happen, pun intended.
I like the fun. It's so funny.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And one of those changes was, one, we converted some of our live classes into voiceovers, and right now we've also converted these live classes into webinars. So we could still do it live, but it's in a virtual setup, or let's just say a virtual classroom. I've been doing voiceovers for the company or for the university for just 2 to 3 months. And then the rest of the months, we focused more on webinars so that there can be interaction, there can be more activities. In other words, it's still a different engagement when you do it live, when you
Mhm.
do it face to face. Even though it's
Mhm.
just a virtual setup, it really is a huge difference in the lives of those who are attending your workshop as compared to just listening to a voiceover. But at least it's a new thing, it's a new achievement for the company, and especially for me. That's why these are the shifts that we have undergone through.
Wow, and then I felt your adaptability to this, and for the benefit of the viewers out there, we really need to adapt, and we have no choice. We have no choice at times, especially on some of the work that we undertake. Now, the university term, it's fascinating. Why did they come
Yes,
up the university? Because
right.
how, in what context it becomes a university? Does it have a different or diverse specializations? Like for
Again, that's a very wonderful question. I would love to answer that. Well, I believe in learning. I believe in learning and development. But before I delve into certain details, I would like to recap a few things because when I arrived, before I arrived in this company, there were so many leaders who were already the lead facilitators. When I stepped in, most of them resigned. So when I arrived, we had a really challenging and tough time because we had to start. It felt like we had to start again from scratch, and we had to revive the university again starting last year till this very moment. Now we were very lucky because we were able to see changes and progresses in terms of what we were envisioning how it was to be, how the university will be. Now, university in a corporate setup is still almost the same like university for students. So think about professionals taking in or going into certain workshops or let's just say classes of their choosing. Now that would depend upon the topics that the trainers know to facilitate, or if we cannot facilitate those topics, we would invite subject matter experts so that they can facilitate that. For example, Power BI Basics. That's something that our team in e-university can't facilitate yet. That's why, for example, we invited an SME or a subject matter expert to do that for us. So that's university for corporate professionals. So again, as a corporate professional, you are still a student in a way because you would like to learn a certain topic, whether it be speech communication, business writing, high impact presentation skills, or high impact virtual presentation skills, customer experience, and even the like. So whatever topics people like our employees would choose, they would have that leeway to join that class, especially if it is scheduled for a certain month.
Don't you think that it is an advantage on your part that when you came in, most of the people resigned prior to your coming in? Don't you think it is more of an advantage?
I got to see that as an advantage as the days and the months went by. When I went in, I felt like I had to feel my way. I had to pick up so many skills and learn them all at the same time. It was really quite a tough time because you had to meet deadlines and you felt like you were a fish out of water because you feel like you were doing a task and yet you feel like you're not ready. As
So it's like
compared to
so it's
yes,
like a tip of the it's so it's like what you are right now. It's just when people see you, it's just a tip of an iceberg.
yes, that was before. Right now, fortunately, I'm able to manage because as the months, the days, the weeks, and the months went by, I was able to feel my way, and I was able to see how the vision of the university will be. So thankfully, it has become an advantage.
All right, so it
Good.
becomes an advantage in a way. This is a lesson to all listeners out there that we often
Mhm.
hear success stories just like yours, and we are often reminded that success stories are usually just the tip of an iceberg of what people had undertaken. In your case, you need to start from the scratch. That's how I saw it. And speak of starting from the scratch, when you're filling in new people, uh, do you usually fill in this endeavor? Do you usually fill in the veterans or experts, or you are filling in the ones just are like you, who are who are young and still needs to gather the experience?
It can be anyone actually, regardless of your age or experience. When experience, it would be nice if you already have the experience regardless of your age. If you already can facilitate, why not? If you can share your expertise, why not? For as long as you're credible, you have some sort of mastery or familiarity with that subject, why not? And I was very fortunate because I had my boss's supervision and direction and guidance that helped me along the way. Therefore, when it comes to choosing a certain person, you're asking who can facilitate, right?
Yes.
Who can It can be anyone, regardless if you're young, you're seasoned already. I did say the word. Regardless if you're again seasoned, you are in the peak or the prime of your age. For as long
Okay.
as you have the expertise and the credibility and the experience, so again, expertise, experience, credibility, and of course your facilitation skills, then why not? You're qualified to be a subject matter expert in that area for as long as the university would need you to do that topic, or if there would be a demand for that topic, why not?
When it comes to your how you are describing your endeavors right now, it do you still have unusual work habits? I mean, normally for some guys, for example, in the manufacturing business, we have this. We only know two things. the night shift or the day shift. In your line of expertise, kindly describe it in such a way, or
What you're asking would be about my work schedule or work habits or both?
the work. Let me rephrase that. Let's just say that's what is your usual work routine that can be disclosed. The work routine.
Yep, that's also a nice question. The usual routine of a trainer or a corporate trainer for someone like me is you could either be sitting at your desk with little or nothing to do, and you could also be in a classroom setup and you have so many things to do.
Hmm.
What do I mean by
Kindly
this?
expound that. Kindly expound
Right.
that.
There are times when if you don't have a class, you would just be sitting at your desk, and then sometimes you may have a light workload, or sometimes you may still have a heavy workload depending on the deliverables. There are times when I would have to assist in different projects or endeavors because I have nothing to do. My schedule or workload is very light. It can still also be heavy because there are times when we would have to prepare for modules, revise assessments, prepare the logistics, coordinate the invites. As you would see, the life of a trainer isn't only inside the classroom. Because when you're in the classroom, things just happen in a snap of a finger. Time flies fast. Time flies fast if you like what you're doing, kasi, right? So for example, when I would conduct a 2-hour workshop for 2 days, I would have to prepare the logistics, the attendance sheet, the scorecard, everything. And then when I'm in the moment, I have to make sure that the technology, the links for the assessments, my end of day report templates are there. So if you would notice, these are the usual routines that I have to prepare for. So again, there's the pre-training ritual, there's the training ritual, what you have to do on the training itself, and then there's also a post-training ritual. So before, during, after, that can be a ritual. Now, what if I don't have training? What if I don't have classes? So again, I may have to assist in someone else's projects. I may have to assist my supervisor in some of his administrative tasks. Or sometimes, maybe we could, again, make changes with our current modules or assessments, tests, handouts, everything. Other than that, my day is so light. It can be as light as a feather. It can be so relaxed at times. But if there are cases when I have to do crunch time, if it's crunch time, there are also times when I would have to attend meetings to improve the performance of our university.
I admit that despite the word trainer is as old as corporation is, um, I'm still fascinated by this endeavor and the project that you are the project, or how will you aptly describe it? A project or a training? How will you aptly describe this one? Because I've often mentioned this as an endeavor. How can you aptly describe this? Is this an endeavor or a project or a passion or beyond that?
Meaning how I see my work or
Yes,
how my
yes.
perspective. I have so many perspectives. To begin, prep method. Number one, I see my life
Prep
as a
met,
yes,
wait, but the audience, prep, it means
right, right,
point,
right,
reason, example, point. So back to you, Miggy.
right. Number one, I see my life as a corporate trainer. I see my life as a corporate trainer as number one, a career, a lifetime career. I don't see myself anywhere else. I don't see myself working in medicine, in the government, in law, in dentistry, manufacturing. I don't see myself anywhere else. So fortunately for someone like me, I have been in the industry for like 5 years straight. Maybe if I were to change If I were to change, maybe it's just a job, but in terms of industry, I don't know anywhere else. I don't see myself anywhere else. I'm just staying, I would devote my life's work in learning and development or talent development or training and development because I feel like perhaps this is my calling already. It's a calling for me. So therefore, it's a lifetime career as of now. Second, I see it as an investment. So when you say investment, it's the part where you pour out your mind, body, heart, and spirit and soul, your character. Every single fiber of your being is like a step or it's an avenue towards something huge because I have my own purpose. Especially if you know your purpose, I think things can be a lot different. Things can be a lot more significant for you because you would see every single thing that you do as a necessary step to something higher. Therefore, it's an investment. So therefore, when you say investment, you would have to make sure you put mastery, you put your passion in it, putting in the long hours because you want to be the best at your craft and you want to enjoy doing it. You also want to make sure that you serve people the best way that you could. And of course, you earn well. So therefore, it's an investment. So number one, it can be a lifetime career or lifetime calling. That's the first one. Second here is it's an investment. And what else can I say? Project? Well, it's more than just a project, but technically it's still a project because there are certain tasks that you can do within a specific deadline. Therefore, it's also a job, not only a project. But of course, I'd like to see my line of business or my line of work as something beyond a job wherein you would have to report like 8 to 5, 9 to 6, or 7 to 4, or whatever. Because of course, you want to make sure you matter. You matter in what you're doing. What your performance would affect people in a good way. Now, if I were to summarize everything that I have just mentioned, mainly I see my life as a corporate trainer, a lifetime career slash calling. Number two, an investment of yourself. So meaning you have to get better each day. And because you have to pour out yourself into it. And the third one here is a project because it's also a job or a list of you have a list of tasks, skills to learn, and a deadline to meet. Therefore, if you know how to think about your work, your career in this manner, who knows why? Who knows that you could also be one of the best people or the best in your craft, and you would be able to create a life of significance for other people to be inspired and also to follow you.
Wow. And I see the soul in that. Nowadays, in my personal confession is I'm seeing there's a lack of soul in training. That lack of soul.
Ooh, really?
And I noticed that you're so soulful in mentioning it, and I can feel the soul on it. What is your secret to that?
What
Because
is my
that's
secret?
yes. What is the secret to that? I mean, there's a soul in it. I just see. I can tell people if they're training and they're speaking with the technicalities and the rudiments, and I can feel somebody if their statement or the delivery has a soul in it, and you have a soul in it. What is your
Thank
secret
you.
to that?
Having a soul in my work as a trainer, meaning as a trainer, facilitator, as a speaker, or having a soul in your career or what you're doing?
Yes, in your line of work right now, in your
Okay, I like the question. I love to, I would even write a book or an article if I have to answer that question.
go on.
The secret to that there is to start first with your purpose. What do you think is your major why? Why are you doing what you're supposed to do? Because in the first place, it's hard to devote yourself into something if you don't know the reasons why you're doing it. I mean, for example, if I tell you to jump off the building, what is your reason why? Why would you do it in the first place? Or for example, why would you work out? Or for example, why would you start a podcast? I mean, there are so many things that we can do, but you need to figure out the reason you're doing it for. What is it?
The big
Like for
why.
example, yes, having a big why. So first figure out your major why. For instance, in my case, I think my life as a corporate trainer is part of me already because one day I see myself being my own boss. I see myself having my own training and consultancy company or firm as of now. That I think is my major purpose. To simplify and to make it a little bit bigger, I think or I feel like my major purpose in life is to build my own empire. Like a boss, hashtag. So therefore, right, before I even build my own empire, I feel like I have to help other people build their own empire, like a boss. So for example, you're building your own podcast. So maybe it's a joy for me to help you out build your own empire. That's how I would live my purpose. And then eventually when I have my own podcast, for example, or my own training and consultancy firm, I hope you would help me build my own empire this time. So that's an example. So you would see that a purpose isn't only for yourself. You have to think of something bigger than yourself because you would devote your life into it. So that's the first thing. Purpose. Example, you have a podcast. So let's just say that's your empire. I'm gonna help you do it. Right? Fair enough. And then one day when I have my own, I hope you could help me out. But anyway, that's just an example. Because of course you want something bigger, you want to devote yourself to a larger cause greater than yourself, which would also benefit other people. So that's the first thing. Have a why that benefits people first. Next, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? Right? There are
Right.
things that make us tick. There are things that make us sad. There are things that make us cry. What makes your heart sing? I think that's Steve Jobs. What makes your heart sing? For example, in my case, when I am given the chance to speak, you put me on stage, I'm on fire. Public speaking is one of my passions, but my greatest passion really is personal development. That's my greatest obsession. So as a corporate trainer, I'm able to immerse myself in that passion because I think that with the help of personal development, I would bring out the best version of myself, and that would be a springboard to all my other passions, such as public speaking. And that would be very crucial for me as a corporate trainer because you're called to speak in front. So that's an example of passion. What do you like to do in the first place? What are the things that capture your heart? What are things that make you sing? What makes your heart sing? On the other hand, if it makes you cry, if it makes you sad, why would you invest in that endeavor? And of course, another secret that I'd like to share here is your potential. So if you would notice, there are three P's: your purpose, your passion, and of course, the third P is your potential. What are your strengths? What are things that you do naturally? What are things that you do really, really well? So one way for you to find out your strengths is, of course, check out what are activities that really seem very easy for you. When you do it, other people get so amazed because you do it so well. In fact, when people ask you how you do it, you feel like sometimes you even don't know because it's so natural. It's hard for you to teach it. There are some people who are like that. You ask them, you know what, you're so good in writing. How do you do that? And then the person answers, I don't know. Maybe
I
it's just
remember
easy.
I remember when I was asking for interviewees in this podcast, I have asked a sociologist. Mind you, I asked a sociologist from a reputable state university. I remember asking her and showing that she's a very good sociologist and I wanted to interview her. And she says, I cannot do that, what you're doing right now. And another example, I was asked to interview a police lieutenant colonel who
Mhm.
is also a chemical engineer.
Right.
And you mentioned that person is a lieutenant colonel and also a chemical engineer. How can you beat that? And when I asked if you if that person wanted to be interviewed in this podcast, that person mentioned, I cannot do what you are doing. And like you mentioned, Miggy, uh, this is one thing that I'm so good about in bringing out something from the person perspective
Yes. Right.
in a
I
spontaneous
agree with
manner,
that.
just like now.
Yes, I agree with that. So
Thank you
yes,
for,
you have a reinforcement coming from another guest interviewee.
and I agree with that, and because that's the reason why. I did this podcast because I have the knack of finding things from other people's perspective without hitting them.
Yeah, correct.
Maybe you noticed that. I hope. I hope I'm not hurting you right now.
Yeah, of course.
And speaking of which, what is okay? So, what is your what is your light? What are your lightest moments in this job that you have? What is the lightest moment that you can share to us? That the testimonial, that lightest moment.
Testimonial. Lightest moment or testimony? Testimonial.
Yeah, testimonial or specifically your lightest moment, meaning the because in our job there's that down moments, right?
Ah,
What
right,
is your
right.
lightest? What is your lightest moment?
My lightest moment, so many things I can think of as a corporate trainer. Well, to sim all right, to simplify or to direct the audience and think about if they would like to pursue this career, I
Mm-hmm.
think the lightest moment for a corporate trainer is when you feel like number one, you have an excellent evaluation or feedback from your trainees, and you would feel like they are learning from you. So that should come together. You have an excellent feedback. They liked your workshop or your training, and then there's a reinforcement that people learn from you. That's very important because as a corporate trainer, people don't care about, yes, they would really care about how good the trainer or the facilitator is. That's one point. The second factor here is how much can they learn from you, or how excellent is the learning session, how what is to what extent is the quality of the learning that people who are going to your class can absorb from you. And if you're able to do that, then of course you would feel like you've done you've done an excellent job in that sense as a corporate trainer.
Wow. Any heroes that you are looking up to on this in this passion? Any
That's a very good
heroes?
question. Hero,
Uh,
they're mostly fictional eh.
okay, it's
Fictional,
okay.
well, heroes. Well, there's this man. He's the first hero that I looked up to on TV as an adult because 8 years ago, I would see this shirtless and well muscled man who would do a salmon ladder. And then eventually, without me knowing it, this person whom I would watch doing the salmon ladder, which is a pull up. So you pull yourself up and then you advance to the next rung until you reach the highest. So anyway, it's just like doing a pull up exercise, but it's progressive. Now, as he was working out, anyway, I didn't realize that this person would be one of my greatest influencers in life. In fact, my parents keep debating with me that he's just fake, he's just on TV. But frankly, he has so many characteristics that inspire me as a person, such as number one, finding your purpose. That's the first thing. And how does that connect with me as a trainer? Well, you need to know why you're training people in the first place. Why are you doing it? Right? So that's the first thing. Number two, self-transformation. That's the second thing that I learned and really enjoyed as I was watching that man from the TV series Arrow. And his name is Oliver Queen, the
Yes,
Green
Oliver
Arrow.
Queen.
I know it. I even
Yeah,
know it. See?
yeah. Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, and one of DC's richest man,
Yes,
DC Comics richest man.
self-transformation.
Yes,
And
yes.
yes, going back to self-transformation, I I would like to highlight the importance of becoming someone else, becoming something else. How does it connect to me as a corporate trainer? Well, as a corporate trainer, you have to help people become a better version of themselves after your workshop. How can they become someone else? How can you help someone become something else with your workshop? For example, in SpeechCom, how do you help someone who was formerly nervous into someone else, or into something else, meaning into someone who is very confident in public speaking? That's an example. So he's one, si Oliver Queen. Second, gusto ko naman he's my newest TV idol right now, si Harvey Specter. Harvey Specter is the
Um,
man whom women like, and also the man whom other men want to be like. And I'm one of those men. I want to be
I
like that
have
guy.
I respect her. Do you know that one of my favorite characters in Suits is not Harvey Specter, but Louis Litt? Although I
He's a laughing.
understand the I
Yeah.
understand the kick that Harvey Specter has, and I asked the role model part because whether it's fictional or non-fictional, that's why I said for you to go on with the non-fictional part. It's because it influences us, and in your case, it's influencing you in a very positive way. Go on with what you about Harvey Specter.
Harvey's, what I like about Harvey Specter is parang lahat na nasa kanya eh. Hindi, I just gave you a summary kanina eh. He's the man whom women like, and he is the man whom other men want to be like. Kumbaga, there are so many ang dami niyang qualities na gusto kong makuha. Number one, meron na siyang looks, meron na siyang appearance, meron na nga siyang style and grooming. He's got swag. He's got that masculinity. He's got that suavity, that smoothness, that sophistication, intelligence, wit, humor. Well, disregarding yung morals and religion,
Mm-hmm.
lahat na siya meron nun eh. And he is a GOAT at what he does. So when you say GOAT, greatest of all time, he is the best at what he does. So these are things that I'd like to have also as a person. Diba? So, yes, Oliver Queen and Harvey Specter are my current fictional heroes. So Harvey Specter, so again, ano pa ba hindi ko nabanggit sa kanya? He's got the toughness. Tapos, ang maganda pa kay Harvey Specter, he's already a boss. So mataas-taas ang position niya. You don't dare mess with the Harvey Specter. He's got swag and you know it. Right? So ang dami na niyang qualities na gusto kong makuha eh. But anyway, kidding aside, these are two people who are, even though they're fictional, I still look up to them as a role model because, of course, I'd like to get their qualities. But, sino ba kasi mga heroes ko? Ang dami kong heroes in terms of personal development. Sige, they can be like my role models, pero hindi lang sila isa eh. Isang katerba sila sa, if you're talking about non-fictional heroes, ang dami. Perhaps in personal development, I can start there.
Okay, so non-fiction, it only goes to show that your choice of non-fictional and fictional role models, which are varied, indicates that you are finding the good things out of these people, and you're incorporated
Yes.
to you developing or creating a you,
Right.
right?
That's true.
And now, since the time flies so fast, and I don't feel it actually, I didn't feel it actually. Now, what are your encouraging lines, or what is your encouraging statement for all the viewers out there who wanted to have that same passion as you are, and especially if they are currently doing corporate training and talent development in terms of the corporate setting?
Right.
Go on.
Number one, so again, going back, the first thing that you can do is to figure out your 3 Ps. Number one is your purpose, your big why. Why are you doing what you're supposed to do? If you figure out the why, the how, or the manner of doing things becomes a lot easier kasi meron kang pinagbabasehan eh. Meron kang why to make sure it happens. Number two, what makes your heart sing? What makes you happy? What lights up your dull moments? What gives you inspiration? So therefore, number two is to find your passion. That's the first. That's the second. And the last P here is your potential. What are you good at? Where can you be the best at? Or where can you be one of the best at? Where do you usually improve so easily? what makes your what skills, if you do that, parang people admire you for it because you make it look so easy. You make it look so effortless or seamless. So therefore, you have to look at your potential, your strengths as a person. Lahat naman tayo may mga strengths eh. Hindi pwedeng wala. We have a weakness, that's true. We have things that we dislike. We have things that contradict our purpose. But either way, we have activities or endeavors that help us highlight who we are at our most. So that's the first set of things that you can do. So finding your 3P. So one pa lang yun. One pa lang yun, ha? Next, what are your goals? What are your career goals? For example, as I've mentioned kanina, my goals, which I tied to my purpose already, in my case is to build my own empire like a boss. So for example, I'm helping Ian, but before I have my own empire, for example, in my case, I make sure to help other people build theirs. Example for Ian, in your case, helping you build your podcast. So in my case, how do I do it? So number one, I keep doing what I'm doing. I also invest in side hustles. Dami kong side hustles lately. And you also have to invest in yourself because remember, if you invest in yourself, you would grow a lot better in your craft. What else? I think that's basically verbal filler. That technically summarizes it if in a nutshell, ha? So you're finding your 3Ps and of course your goals. Ano pa? Okay, I suddenly remembered. What are your values? What are the things that you value? What are your current priorities? If you ask me what I prioritize, what are my values? I would tell you 4 things as of the moment. Number 1, I have merit. I value winning, just like Harvey Specter. Number 3 is productivity. Number 4 is relentlessness. Relentlessness would come from your purpose. Si Oliver Queen ang idol ko dyan. So that you need to also know not only your 3Ps, your goals, but you also have to know what are your values and priorities. Priorities ko, number 1, work, syempre. Next would be fitness and health. Next, finance. Next, Toastmasters. Next, side hustles or gigs like John Robert Powers and my other gigs. So therefore, dapat meron kang priorities. Now, if I were to summarize, ayun, so dami ko na nasabi. So 3Ps mo, first thing, your goals, your values, and definitely your priorities. If you would like to have a life that I'm currently having right now, well, it's not perfect, but at least I think there's progress in my life, then these are my current suggestions.
Thank you very much, Migi. And thank you very much for being part of my podcast show. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we can see that what is evident in Migi's my talk with Migi right now is the core value of excellence, and aside from that is the core value of serving others and making other people excellent as well. So this is a good trait that everybody or those who had that kind of a talent really can do. So now, wait, hold on. Any last lines that you wanted to impart?
Right. So ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to training or corporate training or learning and development or the and development or talent and development industry, I would leave you with these lines. Learning and development isn't only a job, but also a lifestyle. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having me here, Ian. It has always been my pleasure being with you. I have finally gotten the chance to return the favor to a good friend like you because I remember back then you helped me in my project in Toastmasters, and right now helping you here in this podcast of yours has been an honor well done.
The honor is mine as well. So again, thank you very much for listening to my podcast. Oh, if I may forgot, if before uh, I remember, actually when I had my data analytics, 50% or 74% of my listeners are from the age range of 33 to 45.
Nice.
So I think I could take it as an opportunity that this podcast is being listened to by middle level managers and above.
Right. Perfect.
Yes. Well, well, so much for that. Thank you very much, Biggie, and thank you very much for everybody. Again, this is Ian along together with Migi Ericta. Thank you very much for allowing yourself to be tagged along. Good day.